Hello and welcome. My name is Zafar Iqbal, and you are watching the Mojo Story. There can be no bigger hypocrisy than this. Canada has, in fact, banned one media outlet of Australia just after it aired Foreign Minister Jaishankar's speech and comments about Canada when he spelled out the problems between Canada and India and gave the reasons why these problems existed at all from the Canadian side. And then what followed was uh, that media outlet was banned in uh, Canada. Now, why is it hypocritical? Because on one hand, Canada says that it's for freedom of speech. It gives freedom of speech to all the Khalistani separatists when they take out those rallies um, against India and also glorify the killers of a former Prime Minister of India. They say that it's all a part of the freedom of speech. But here, a media outlet was banned just after it aired the speech, the statement of Foreign Minister Jaishankar. So basically, this media outlet, Australia Today, uh, is the name, and it put out a statement. It said that we remain steadfast in our mission to bring important stories and voices to the public, undeterred by these obstacles. And it also said the overwhelming support we have received is a powerful reminder of the importance of free press and will continue to strive for transparency, accuracy, and the right to tell stories that matter. It also said the recent restriction and ban on our interview with Indian External Affairs Minister S Jaishankar and the press conference with Australian Foreign Minister Senator Wong on social media under orders from the Canadian government have been difficult for our team and those who value freedom and open journalism. So, this is a statement by that media outlet, Australia Today. Now, India has also reacted to these developments. The MEA has put out a statement. In fact, in that weekly briefing, the MEA spokesperson spoke about this. Let us first play that soundbite.
Keshav, I have been here for a year or so, or little less than a year, but have been following developments in regard to Canada-India relations. You would have seen over the last year or even more the kind of things that we've seen attacking Indian diplomats, threatening, intimidating, harassing Indian diplomats. I was myself based in New York, so there also I have had a close engagement on these issues. Uh, so I would say yes, the threats have increased. Surveillance. We talked about surveillance in my last engagement. That surveillance, Indian diplomats are put under surveillance, which is totally unacceptable. The External Affairs Minister also has spoken about it. We had we had also taken up the matter very strongly with the Canadian side on it.
Right. So you heard it, the MEA spokesperson uh, making that statement and also talking about the surveillance of Indian diplomats in Canada. Now, remember, India Canada relations have hit the rock bottom. All of this started in September last year when Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, stood up in the Canadian Parliament and said that agents of the government of India were responsible for the killing of a Canadian citizen, Hardeep Singh Nijjar, who India says was a terrorist. Now, India has since then been asking Canada to provide evidence. No evidence, India says, has been provided. Now, Canadian diplomat was recently summoned by the MEA after Canada said that Indian High Commissioner and other diplomats, they said they're the persons of interest in that case. He was summoned, and after he came out from the MEA, he spoke to the media and he said that all the evidence was shared. Now, those diplomats have been expelled by both the countries, and the situation has really turned very bad. Now, what is important? is that all along Canada has been saying that it believes in freedom of speech, and it that is precisely the reason that all those separatists and all those people who are taking out those protests, anti India protests, do that because they have the right to do that as per the freedom of speech. But here, a media outlet is playing out a statement of the foreign minister, and it is banned on the social media afterwards. What happens to freedom of speech bogey there? That's the big question that's being asked. And ironically, Justin Trudeau recently said that he's made those statements on the basis of intelligence inputs and not on the basis of any evidence. So, quite contradicting his own statement, but at the same time, officials of Canada and the Deputy Foreign Minister have been leaking stories to the Washington Post. India has been asking for evidence, but they have been leaking stories to the Washington Post. And things have reached to this point that they said that all the separatist activities in Canada, all those problems that are in Canada were taking place on the orders of the Home Minister of India. They, in fact, named the Home Minister of India. So that is the level of that is the situation on the ground. The two countries are really there's a lot of diplomatic tension between the two countries, and now every day we are seeing some new development taking place. Now recently Brampton, a temple in Brampton was attacked by Khalistani separatists who were carrying flags of Khalistan, and they sort of attacked the worshippers there who were peacefully gathered there. As you can see from those visuals, they attacked those worshippers, and and they it was a very ugly situation that was created. And what was ironical is that one of those people who was a part of the protesters was actually a policeman, a serving police cop who was off duty. And when those videos were circulated, then it was very clear that he was a policeman off duty at that time, and he was the part of the protesters, uh, all of them who were carrying Khalistani flags. Now, the point is that this also indicates to the fact that Khalistani separatists have infiltrated the system at different levels. And that is precisely the reason that they have been able to carry out such activities. And the system seems to be helping them. System is not stopping them. The point is that if all of this is done under the garb of free speech, what happens to the concept of free speech when a media outlet is banned just for using India's foreign minister's statement? So obviously there are many sort of reactions coming in, and a lot of people have been analyzing the whole thing. Uh, in fact, it is there have been reactions coming in from uh, former security officials. Uh, in fact, uh, uh, RNAW former chief Mr. Dullat spoke recently uh, to Mojo Story, and he was also analyzing those developments, and this is what he had to say.
Look, I'm not talking of a mole. I'm talking of a straightforward agent. He would be a mole if he was in Punjab, but he's right there. The
Right.
reason I'm saying this, and I'll keep on saying it, and I told you before, is the kind of support that this man is getting. As you say, he's bad news. He's a terrorist. So why
Yes.
are the Americans supporting him? For what reason? If he's not one of their own, if he's not has no link with them, then the Americans don't want Khalistan, surely. The Canadians have a separate this thing because there are a lot of more Sikhs in Canada
Yeah.
than in the United States. The Americans have nothing to do with Khalistanis or whatever it is. So why is this particular gentleman, a special favorite of theirs? that they're so
Well, it's
concerned,
either
and
it's either ignorance.
it's not even somebody who's been gunned down or anything. That there was a plan to gun him down.
Right. So there you heard it, Mr. Dullat. But he was talking about Gurpatwant Singh Pannu, who's another Khalistani who's based in America, who has a dual citizenship of US and Canada and has been openly threatening India and Indians. In fact, in a recent threat, he asked people not to take Air India flights and he threatened to blow them off. In the past, he has been threatening to target Indian Parliament. Uh, he's been making all those threatening uh, statements, and he's based in America. So this was Mr. Dullat talking about Gurpatwant Singh Pannu, who America says there was actually a foiled murder attempt on Gurpatwant Singh Pannu, and they had named a former Indian government official as being the person involved in that. But India Canada relations have really touched a rock bottom. There have been many developments taking place. Initially, it was assumed that it's perhaps Justin Trudeau and the Liberal Party that's responsible, that is sort of siding with these Khalistani separatists. But it's becoming more and more clear that this sort of support for the Khalistanis is across the board. The fact is that conservatives also uh, cancelled the Diwali function. Just goes on to show that people cutting across political lines have buckled under the Khalistani pressure, and that's precisely the reason that Khalistani separatists can do all that they are doing in Canada. In fact, um, there was also India's High Commissioner in Canada, Sanjay Verma, who has returned now, and he's been speaking about the India Canada relations and telling what exactly went wrong and where do the relations stand at this point in time and how the system in Canada is supporting Khalistani separatists. If we have that soundbite and we can use it.
देखिए, पर्सन ऑफ इंटरेस्ट तो मुख्यतः होता है कि आपसे प्रश्न किया जाए किसी एक संबंध में, तो वो तो ट्रबलिंग है ही कि आप एक विदेशी रिप्रेजेंटेटिव को, हाई कमिश्नर को या एम्बेसडर को आप ये कहते हैं कि आप हमारे पुलिस अथॉरिटीज के प्रश्नों का जवाब दें, यह अनुचित है। डिप्लोमेटिक प्रैक्टिस भी ये देखा नहीं जाता है आमतौर पे। उसके बाद हमारी सरकार ने कहा कि हम आपके डिप्लोमेटिक इम्यूनिटी को तो नहीं उठाएंगे, और कोई भी सरकार नहीं उठाती है, आप वापस चले आए। तो हमें और हमारे 5 दूसरे सहयोगियों को भारत ने विड्रॉ किया, वापस आने को कहा, कॉल बैक किया। अब जब ये सूचना यहां पर दी गई, इनके उस समय जो एक्टिंग हाई कमिश्नर थे, तो उन्होंने भी रिपोर्ट भेजी होगी, वो भी करियर डिप्लोमेट हैं, अच्छे प्रोफेशनल हैं, मेरे अच्छे मित्र हैं, तो उन्होंने रिपोर्ट भेजी होगी। तब अचानक वहां पर अंदर में क्या बात हुई मुझे भी नहीं पता, लेकिन तब उन्होंने हम लोगों को अवांछित व्यक्ति के रूप में घोषित कर दिया, जिसे डिप्लोमेटिक टर्म में कहते हैं पर्सोना नॉन ग्राटा। तो हम लोग पर्सोना नॉन ग्राटा हो गए, ये 6 लोग। इसका अर्थ यह है कि एक नियत समय जो वो बताते हैं, इस केस में जो कनाडा बताएगा, उस नियत समय के अंदर अगर आप उस देश को नहीं छोड़ते हैं तो यह माना जाएगा कि आप अब डिप्लोमेट नहीं हैं, और उस देश के कानून के तहत जो भी आप पर एक्शन लेना है वो लिया जाएगा।
तो आपको लगा था ऐसी कुछ साजिश हो रही है आपको अरेस्ट करने की भी?
हो सकती थी, साजिश ये हो सकती थी, लेकिन जब तक मेरी डिप्लोमेटिक इम्यूनिटी है तब तक एक प्रजातांत्रिक देश से तो मैं ये आशा नहीं करूंगा कि वो इस तरह का कोई भी गैरकानूनी स्टेप लेगा।
That was Sanjay Verma saying what exactly happened in Canada. But there have been developments taking place almost on a daily basis. Worshippers at a temple were targeted, and Prime Minister Modi also tweeted about that after that incident. India has been putting across all those concerns to Canada uh, in a diplomatic way, and has been asking Canada that if there is any evidence regarding Indian involvement in the killing of Hardeep Singh Nijjar, that can be given to India. But India has not, Canada has not giving any any sort of evidence to India as of now, although a year has passed, and Canadian Prime Minister has said that he's made those statements on the basis of intelligence inputs and not on the basis of any evidence. So the latest sort of development that's taken place is that an Australian media outlet that had sort of aired the uh, press statement of S Jaishankar, India's foreign minister, when he was talking about Canada, was actually taken off air, was banned in Canada uh, at a time when Canada is itself saying that that it believes in freedom of speech, and that's precisely the reason that Khalistani elements get the permission to carry out those protests and to do all those anti-India activities that they have been doing there. And in fact, if we can play that S Jaishankar soundbite when he spoke about the issues between India and Canada.
Right to express different views peacefully. Thank you very much. Was it Finn, Nikki? Or Finn?
Hi, Minister Wong. Canada says that it has credible intelligence that the Indian government was involved in the murder of a Canadian citizen on Canadian soil. Similar allegations have been looked into in the US. Can we just clarify, does your government trust your Five Eyes partners' intelligence on that matter specifically? Is there anything more generally you would say to the Sikh community to reassure them that there's nothing to fear here? And Minister Jaishankar, your government has obviously labelled allegations absurd, but have Australian diplomats raised concerns with you either today or in the last few months about them?
Perhaps I'll go first. First, in relation to Australia's Sikh community, I would say the same thing I said to I think it's Jay, isn't it? People have a right to be safe and respected, regardless of who they are in our country. That's the essence of our multicultural democracy. We've made clear our concerns about the allegations under investigations. We've said that we respect Canada's judicial process. We convey our views to India as you would expect us to do, and we have a principled position in relation to matters such as the rule of law and the independence of the judiciary, and also, frankly, the sovereignty of all countries.
Let me make three comments. One, Canada has developed a pattern of making allegations without providing specifics. Secondly, when we look at Canada, for us, the fact that they're putting our diplomats under surveillance is something which is unacceptable. Third, the incidents which the gentleman there spoke about, and do look at the video. I think they would tell you, in a way, the political space today, which is being given to extremist forces there. So we believe in freedoms. We also believe freedom should not be misused. And have you had a talk about it? Exactly on the lines which I've spoken.
Right. So this was the statement that was aired by that media outlet, and afterwards that media outlet was taken off air in Canada. So this is the situation that is developing between the two countries, the relationship that's touched a rock bottom and is at the lowest. It has been going downwards, this down spiral, since Justin Trudeau last year stood up in the parliament and blamed the agents of the government of India for the killing of Khalistani separatist Hardeep Singh Nijjar. The question is that the country that has been talking so much about freedom of expression and freedom of speech, how can a statement by the External Affairs Minister Jaishankar create such a problem that a media outlet has to be banned? We leave it here. Thanks so much for tuning in, and thanks so much for joining the Mojo Story.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.